If your hydrangeas are looking a little tired this summer, droopy leaves, faded blooms, maybe a few brown edges, I need you to stop what you're doing for the next few minutes. Because there's a good chance you're watering them wrong. Not too little, not too much, just wrong. And here's the scary part. The mistakes most people make right now, in the final stretch of summer, don't show up today. They show up in September, when it's suddenly too late to fix them. Your hydrangeas could be quietly struggling underground right now, even if they look fine on the surface. The good news? Once you know what's actually happening beneath the soil, fixing it takes almost no extra effort. In fact, it's usually less work than what you're doing now. Let's get into it. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to water your hydrangeas so they sail through the rest of summer and head into fall strong, healthy, and ready to reward you with bigger blooms next year. I'm going to walk you through 3 simple shifts, not complicated schedules, not fancy equipment, just small changes to how and when you water. These are the same techniques experienced gardeners use to get those huge, magazine-worthy hydrangea blooms, and I promise none of it requires more time in your garden. If anything, you'll spend less time worrying and more time enjoying how good your plants look. Here's something nobody tells you when you plant hydrangeas. They're one of the most forgiving flowers when it comes to sunlight and soil, but they are brutally honest when it comes to water. Give them the wrong amount, at the wrong time, in the wrong way, and they'll tell you. Usually with wilting, yellowing, or blooms that just never quite show up. If you've ever stood over your hydrangeas thinking, I water them all the time, why do they still look stressed? You are not alone, and it's not your fault. Most watering advice online is vague or contradictory. That's exactly why we started Stress-Free Garden Living, to cut through the confusion and give you simple, low-effort methods that actually work, so gardening feels relaxing instead of stressful. Before we get to the first tip, I want to tell you about the one watering habit almost nobody talks about. A small timing shift you need to make as we head toward September. Skip it, and you could weaken your hydrangea's ability to survive winter and bloom well next spring, even if everything else you do is perfect. I'll walk you through exactly when and how to make that shift later in this video, so stick around. Tip 1. Water deep, not often. Let's start with the biggest myth in hydrangea care, the idea that a quick daily sprinkle is good for your plant. It feels productive, doesn't it? You walk out every evening, give the base a few seconds of water, and move on with your day. It looks like care, but here's what's actually happening underground. That shallow watering never reaches deep into the soil. So your hydrangea's roots have no reason to grow downward. They stay shallow, close to the surface, right where the sun bakes the soil dry within hours. This is why it works to water deeply, only 2 to 3 times a week, instead of a little bit every single day. When you water deeply, moisture travels down 6 to 8 inches into the soil. That forces your hydrangea's roots to follow the water down, growing deeper and stronger. And deeper roots mean a plant that can handle a hot, dry afternoon without wilting, because it's pulling moisture from way below where the sun can reach. Picture this. Instead of your hydrangea drooping every afternoon like clockwork, it stays upright and perky even during a heat wave, because its roots are tapped into a reserve of moisture most gardeners never build. Your simple action step here is this. Swap your daily light watering for 2 or 3 deep waterings a week. Let the hose run slowly at the base until the soil is soaked several inches down. Then let it be. Your hydrangea will thank you with far less drama. One easy way to know you've watered deeply enough is to time it. A slow trickle from the hose, sitting at the base of the plant for several minutes, does far more good than 5 quick passes with a watering can. If you're using a watering can, plan on refilling it 2 or 3 times per session, pouring slowly so the water has time to soak in instead of running off the surface. Think of it less like a quick chore and more like filling a reservoir that your plant can draw from all week long. Tip 2. Water the base, never the leaves. Now here's a mistake that looks harmless but quietly invites disease. Many people water their hydrangeas by spraying the whole plant, leaves, flowers, everything, especially in the evening after work. It feels satisfying, like you're giving the plant a refreshing shower. But wet leaves that stay damp overnight are one of the easiest ways to invite powdery mildew and fungal leaf spot, 2 problems that can spread quickly and are much harder to treat than they are to prevent. The fix is simple. Water the base of the plant, not the leaves, using a soaker hose or drip line if you have one. If you're watering by hand, aim the hose directly at the soil around the roots, and time it for early morning instead of evening. If any water does splash onto the leaves, the morning sun will dry it off within an hour or two, long before it has a chance to cause problems. Imagine walking out to your garden and seeing clean, vibrant green leaves with no spots, no mildew, no mystery blotches, just healthy foliage framing big, full blooms. That's what this one adjustment protects. Your action step: move your watering time to early morning and aim low, right at the soil, not the leaves. If mornings aren't realistic for you, watering by mid-afternoon is still far better than watering at dusk. The goal is simply to give the leaves enough daylight hours to dry out completely before nightfall. And if you already have a soaker hose or drip line set up, you're in great shape. Those tools are designed to deliver water exactly where it's needed, slowly and steadily, without ever wetting the foliage at all. It's a small investment that pays off in fewer disease problems and less time spent inspecting leaves for spots later in the season. Now, if you've been taking notes, you might be thinking these 2 tips alone will fix everything, and they'll help a lot. But there's a third factor that most people skip entirely, and it's the reason so many hydrangeas struggle in the final weeks of summer heat, even when you're watering correctly. It has nothing to do with your hose, and everything to do with what's covering or not covering your soil. Tip 3. Mulch is non-negotiable. This next one might be the single easiest way to cut your watering workload nearly in half. If your hydrangea bed has bare soil around the base, you are losing moisture faster than you're able to replace it, especially now, as late summer heat really peaks before things start cooling off in fall. Bare soil dries out fast under direct sun, which means all that deep watering you just learned about gets undone within a day or two. A 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch, bark chips, or wood chips work great. Acts like a lid on your soil. It locks moisture in, so it doesn't evaporate as quickly. It also regulates soil temperature, keeping roots cooler and more stable even when the air above is scorching. The result is a plant that needs less frequent watering, because the moisture you give it actually stays where it's supposed to. Picture your hydrangea bed a few weeks from now, soil that stays cool and slightly moist to the touch, even on a hot afternoon, instead of turning to dry, cracked dust by lunchtime. Your action step is straightforward. Spread 2 to 3 inches of mulch around the base of your hydrangea, keeping it a couple of inches away from the actual stem so it doesn't trap excess moisture against the plant itself. You don't need anything fancy here. Bark chips, wood chips, even shredded leaves work well, and most garden centers sell them by the bag for just a few dollars. If you've never mulched before, think of it as a one-time, 20-minute task that saves you dozens of extra watering sessions between now and the first cool days of fall. It's one of those rare gardening jobs where a little upfront effort buys you weeks of easier maintenance. Let's pause here for a common mistake that trips up even experienced gardeners: watering on a fixed schedule without ever checking the soil first. It's easy to fall into a routine. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, water the hydrangeas, no questions asked. But your plant's actual needs change with the weather, and watering on autopilot often means you're either overwatering or underwatering without realizing it. Overwatering is sneaky because it can look like underwatering: yellowing leaves, a wilted appearance, even root rot setting in quietly beneath the surface. Many people see those symptoms, assume the plant is thirsty, and water even more, making the problem worse. The fix takes 10 seconds. Before you water, stick a finger about 2 inches into the soil near the base of the plant. If it's still moist at that depth, skip watering for another day. If it's dry, go ahead and water deeply. This one habit removes all the guesswork, and it's the difference between watering your hydrangea and actually listening to it. If you'd rather not get your hands dirty, a cheap moisture meter from the garden center does the same job with even more precision. Just push the probe into the soil and read the dial. Either way, the point is the same. Let the soil tell you what it needs, instead of assuming your calendar knows better than your plant does. Now here's the tip I promised you earlier, the one almost nobody mentions, and it's especially important as we move toward September. As summer starts winding down, your hydrangea naturally begins preparing for dormancy. This is its way of slowing down and getting ready for the colder months ahead. But if you keep watering it on a peak summer schedule straight into fall, you're sending the wrong signal. You're telling the plant to stay active and keep growing, right when it needs to be conserving energy and toughening up for winter. This mismatch is one of the hidden reasons hydrangeas come back weaker the following spring, with fewer and smaller blooms, even though they looked perfectly healthy all summer. The fix is to gradually taper your watering frequency as September approaches. You don't need to stop suddenly. Just start stretching the gap between waterings a little longer each week, letting the plant naturally ease into its slower fall rhythm. A simple way to think about tapering is this. If you're currently watering deeply twice a week, stretch that to once a week by mid-September and once every 10 to 14 days by early October, depending on your local weather. You're not abandoning the plant. You're just giving it permission to slow down naturally, the way it's designed to. And one more small note before we wrap up the tips. Not every hydrangea needs the exact same amount of water. Big leaf and mophead varieties, the ones with the big round or mophead style blooms, are thirstier and need more frequent attention. Panicle and oakleaf types, on the other hand, are naturally more drought tolerant and can go longer between waterings without any stress. If you're not sure which type you have, look at the shape of the blooms and the leaves. Mopheads have large, rounded flower clusters, while panicles have more cone-shaped blooms. Knowing your variety helps you fine-tune everything we've covered today, instead of applying a one-size-fits-all approach. So let's bring this all together. Watering your hydrangeas the right way isn't about doing more, it's about doing it smarter. Deep, infrequent watering builds stronger roots. Watering at the base, in the morning, protects your plant from disease. A simple layer of mulch cuts your workload nearly in half. Checking the soil before you water removes the guesswork. And tapering off as fall approaches sets your hydrangea up for a stronger, more beautiful comeback next spring. That's what stress-free gardening really looks like. Small, smart adjustments that give you better results with less effort, not more. You don't need to hover over your garden every day. You just need to work with your plant's natural rhythm instead of against it. Once these habits become second nature, watering stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like a quick, satisfying check-in with your garden. Think about how different your hydrangeas will look by the time September rolls around. Instead of crossing your fingers and hoping they make it through the last stretch of summer heat, you'll know exactly why they're thriving. And come next spring, you'll likely see the payoff in the form of fuller, more vibrant blooms, because the plant went into winter strong instead of stressed. If this video helped clear things up, do me a favor and hit subscribe. Every week, we break down simple, low-effort ways to get better results in your garden, so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying the payoff. Bigger blooms, healthier plants, and a garden that basically takes care of itself once you know the right habits. We're building a community here of people who want a beautiful garden without turning it into a second job, and I'd genuinely love for you to be part of it. So if you found even one tip in this video useful, subscribing helps this channel keep making more of them. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these 3 tips are you going to try first? And if you've already got hydrangeas struggling this summer, tell me what you're seeing, and I'll do my best to help you troubleshoot it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.